This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me. And this story is very disturbing, and I think that it needs highlighting due to the fact of people being aware of it, and also to pay respects to the woman that lost her life. Eulin Hastings was 74 years old, and she was a retired nurse, and she worked as a midwife. A prolific burglar known as Fyles, who is 29 years old, of no fixed address, was convicted. On Friday the 10th of January, he was sentenced to 31 years in prison. The court heard that back in 2017, on the 10th of January, this case has took over 2 years to actually come to a conclusion, and this shows how long criminal cases can sometimes take. A neighbour had noticed smoke coming from Miss Hastings' home in Birmingham Road, South East London, in the Croydon area. The neighbour called the London Fire Brigade at 3:15 in the daytime. They forced entry through the locked front door. Miss Hastings was found lying in the hallway. The fire brigade removed her from the premises and began first aid. They also extinguished the fire, which was in the area of the staircase. Miss Hastings was pronounced dead at the scene. After extinguishing the fire, firefighters noticed the house was showing signs that it had been burgled. Police attended and found that Eulin Hastings' bedroom had been ransacked, and other rooms in the house had been subject to an untidy search. In the living room, a coffee table had been smashed. A knife was found on the floor. The house appeared to have entered by somebody who had broken the glass on the rear French doors with a stone or a rock, they say. So these are them very common patio doors. The doors were then opened by a key that had been left inside the lock. So he just used brute force to just get himself into this house with this old woman inside, and then was disturbed during this actual crime. The post-mortem examination noted that Miss Hastings had burns to her body. There was no evidence to indicate that the fire had actually killed her or breathing in any of the smoke. They said she had died before the fire had started from what they believed to be a traumatic head injury. The number of injuries indicated the wounds had not been sustained in a simple fall. It was the opinion of the pathologist that the injuries had been inflicted on Miss Hastings during the course of a vicious assault. On the same day, shortly after the murder had been discovered, a burglary was reported in nearby Davidson Road, SE25, South East London. The female occupant was at home when she saw the burglar breaking in through the rear of the house, so he was using the same modus operandi to gain entry to this house as well, and it was also the home of a young woman and her child. Police were patrolling locally and officers were on the scene within 6 minutes. When police arrived, the burglar, who was armed with a knife, was pursued by officers across rooftops and gardens. The extent to which he went to evade capture, how desperate he was, he knew that he was going to be arrested for the murder of this old woman as well as this crime that he'd been committing now. The officers chased the armed suspect. He had a knife throughout the whole of this chase, and he made his way onto a conservatory roof. The suspect was seen destroying his mobile phone, and a trained negotiator managed to talk him down to surrender. He was subsequently arrested by police for the burglary on Davidson Road. He gave a false name, and they later identified him as Fyles. Due to the proximity of the cases being as Davidson Road was so close to where Miss Hastings was murdered, they automatically looked into him being a suspect. He was then further arrested on the suspicion of murder of Eulin Hastings. A full investigation was launched by the homicide detectives at Crime South. The detectives were able to locate CCTV footage that showed Aaron walking in the direction of Birmingham Road at 3:30 and walking away from there at 2:45 in the afternoon. More CCTV placed Aaron at Davidson Road at 3 o'clock, where he had been seen by the occupier trying to force entry into the home. The mobile phone that Fyles had tried to destroy was recovered, and it indicated that he had been in the area around the time of the fire. Significantly, DNA evidence from Aaron was recovered from underneath Miss Hastings' fingernails, and her DNA was also found on the jacket that Aaron owned and he was wearing when he was arrested. So there was a hell of a lot of evidence against him in this case. They said that Aaron had committed a lot of burglaries in the past, and he'd been remanded in prison following the arrest due to other burglary offences. He was charged in August 2018 with the murder and 1 count of burglary. The detective in charge of the case said that Eulin Hastings was a retired nurse. She was well liked in the community and an active member of the church. research. Her life had been spent looking after others, and it was tragic to see such a caring person murdered in her own home. In contrast, Aaron Fyles was a serial offender with a horrendous criminal record. The predator roamed the streets, browsing homes to identify targets for burglary. After committing the offence, he would carry on roaming the streets, looking for another target to attack. They had no doubt that the woman that he had burgled, who had managed to escape, would have potentially become a second victim. So she did have children as well. She was a mother and a pillar to the community. She had worked as a midwife for over 30 years and delivered hundreds of babies. So I'd like to send my condolences again to the family of Miss Hastings, and thank you to her for her contribution to society and also to the community as well, for making it a better place. And it's so sad that she actually lost her life in this way. So I really want to hear what people have to say on this story. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Follow us online as well at Scarcity Studios, and don't forget to send us stories via the website, and you can also donate on the website as well. Thank you. Peace.